What is going on, everybody? It's the Frost Moon here for AEW Revolution 2022 review for March the 6th, 2022, of course. People are calling this the greatest AEW pay-per-view of all time. Was it? No. Was it better? Is it going to be better than anything WrestleMania puts on? Absolutely. This is a great show, but it's not a perfect show, and it is definitely not a better show than Full Gear 2021 or All Out 2021. Those are 1 and 2 in the greatest pay-per-views in AEW history. This could be a 3 if it wasn't for 2 matches. The 2 women's matches on the main card were an absolute dumpster fire. I'm gonna have to ask them to. I love Tay Conti. I think she's fucking fantastic. She's improving every single day. Stop booking her title matches unless she's gonna win the championship, because I'm telling you right now, she looks worse every single time she comes out. She looks like an idiot. All of her, like her TKO, the Thai KO doesn't look as strong. Everything that she does that should get her a victory just gets thrown to the trash, and she gets buried every single time. Her match with Jade Cargill was an embarrassment. The Women's Championship match was an embarrassment. They got a new championship because AEW can't figure out what they want their Women's Championship to look like. So, in less than a year, we went from a small silver to a bigger gold version, and now a totally new design title that is bigger than both of those two. Because AEW couldn't figure out what they want the Women's Championship to look like. Great triple threat match for the tag team titles. It could have been much better, but I don't like triple threat or fatal 4-ways in tag team matches, because it's just a mess. You can't. It's just as bad as a 10-man tag, 12-man tag, 6-man tag, 8-man tag. The best and the sweet spot for a tag team is 2-on-2 or 3-on-3. That is it. We had this. I will say, if you want to talk about the best, like the greatest of AEW, the buy-in was the best buy-in AEW has done in their entire existence. The women's match was pretty good. The hook match was just right. And the House of Black versus Eric Redbeard, Penta Oscuro, and Pac was just absolutely 17 minutes of pure carnage and good shit, with the right team winning and the right person getting pinned. We'll talk about all that in a bit. Eddie Kingston versus Chris Jericho was a pretty good opener. I am worried with Eddie Kingston, because there was a spot in that match where he takes a suplex, I think, off of something like Jericho tosses him or something, and he lands straight on his head. That was scary. Tag team title match was pretty good too. Like I said, it would have been better if it was just one of the other teams going up as the tag team champions. Face of the Revolution ladder match was after that. Unlike last year, where they tried to do a casino version of the Face of the Revolution ladder match, they went to a normal ladder match where everybody starts. We had no debut. We had no surprise entrances or anything. Just the Face of the Revolution ladder match, which was good fun. It was a crazy thing, and the right person won. After that, we had a new person come in and sign their AEW contract. It was Shane Swerve Strickland. He was not the only person to sign with AEW tonight, but we'll get to that later. Jade Cargill, Tay Conti was an absolute embarrassment. The fact that you had... I'll talk about it when we get to the match. Let's just move on. The dog collar match. Oh boy, I can't wait to talk about the dog collar match, because this was fucking great. And it can, up until recently, it was MJF's winning because MJF is next in line for the world title. There's no way you're going to have MJF lose this match. But what ended this match is exactly what needed to happen. The outcome was right. And the only way you were going to get this outcome is if what happened at the end of the match happened. The geeks at Wrestle Talk thought that what happened at the end of the match, which I thought the way the match ended was the right way to go if you were going to do a certain thing that people have been wanting to see for months. Then we had the worst women's champion retain her championship in one of the most piss-poor booked matches I have ever seen. that is going to lead to the same thing that we saw between the Lucha Bros and the Young Bucks at All Out. Tony Khan, you are a fucking retard when it comes to professional women's wrestling, and you need to come up with new things to book your wrestlers in. Having them go out there and have that kind of match with the obvious blow-off coming inside a steel cage, because you can't come up with any other thing for these women. It's fucking pathetic. Jon Moxley, Bryan Danielson was a hard-hitting affair, and yes, both men did bleed. With a surprise person that I did not think was going to make his AEW debut. Might have been somebody, if they're going to do something with Ring of Honor, would go work with Ring of Honor, which he still can, which would actually be the smartest idea. We'll talk about that as well. And then Matt Hardy, Andrade El Idolo, and Isaiah Cassidy, Sting, Darby Allin, and Sammy Guevara had a nuts and crazy tornado tag match that was 95% outside of the ring. And all of the HFO were involved. Sammy Guevara almost killed him and Mark Quinn, or I think it was Mark Quinn. We'll talk about that as well. And then, of course, in the main event, the AEW World Championship with the best crowd chants for this match. And I was glad that Orlando did it. It was very creative, and I'm going to talk about that too, because I was sitting here rolling and laughing my ass off because of how they... what they were chanting. It was fucking hilarious. So we're going to start off with the buy-in. I'm not really going to go over the buy-in because it's the buy-in. I'm going to say it was probably the best buy-in AEW has ever done. This was the best pre-show. What I like about AEW's pre-show compared to WWE's kickoff show is that WWE spends 45 minutes going over the matches and showing us the video packages that we're going to see during the show. I mean, AEW showed those too, but you get one match. We didn't get one, not two. We got 3 matches. Layla Hirsch versus Chris Statlander. The match went exactly how I thought it was going to go. Hook versus QT Marshall went exactly how it needed to go. And then the House of Black versus Muddy Matthew versus Death Triangle and Redbeard, which was also a fun and damn good match. If they were going to show off and give us a pre-show, which I find it funny. I saw somebody complain on social media that people who are okay with these matches being on the pre-show but criticize WWE for their having matches on the kickoff show. There's a big difference. There is a massive difference. Every single one of the matches on this kickoff show and on the pre-show tonight had a story behind them, had meaning to them. Layla Hirsch, which again, her heel turn makes absolutely no sense, and it just came out of left field for no fucking reason. But we'll talk about what they're doing with her on Wednesday, which gets my blood boiled with what they're doing. Her and Chris Statlander had a match. It's probably not the blow-off with how it ended. Chris Statlander gets hit with an extra turnbuckle. I don't know why they had extras, but they had an extra thing, one of those metal bars under the ring. Layla grabbed it and smacked her because Chris Statlander, dumb babyface syndrome, took her arm wristband and threw it so the referee could be distracted. Dumb. So Layla Hirsch won. So after this Wednesday, which we'll get to it after the women's title match because it pertains to that as well, I can see them having another match as well. Hook beat QT Marshall, but it was also Hook's toughest test. It was Hook's longest match. It was Hook actually was on the defensive a good bit of time in this match. Hook won with the red drum, as he should have. Not much else you can say about that. And then we got to what you would call the main event of this pre-show. House of Black versus Penta Oscura, Pac, and Redbeard. It was just fucking great. They even had a spot after the smaller guys got their stuff in. Redbeard tagged in, Brody tagged in, and we had ourselves a little bit of a hoss fight. Buddy Matthews looked awesome. It was his and Redbeard's main in-ring debut inside AEW. I don't know what's going on with Redbeard. It feels like he's probably just here for this match. Because usually when someone makes a surprise appearance, Tony Khan goes, All Elite. Did not do that for Eric Redbeard. So he might be around for a bit, just filling in for Phoenix until Phoenix could come back, which honestly, after the Brody Lee tribute show, I'm sure he's on speed dial for Tony Khan whenever Tony Khan needs somebody to fill in, which That's great. He could be one of those guys, and I think, if I'm correct, I read somewhere he doesn't want to get tied down anywhere after being tied down in WWE for so many years and not doing shit and not like having the freedom he wants. Which, yes, AEW have more freedom than WWE, but he wants to do his own thing, and if the AEW needs to come calling, that's great. He could be that big dude who, that's like, he could be a special attraction for AEW and only comes in every so often. We hadn't seen him since the end of 2020, so that's well over a year ago. So him to come in, have one match, and then go and do whatever. I'm sure he'll be on the Control Your Narrative wrestling company, which had their first show yesterday, which I hope everything works out for the Control Your Narrative, because it's just another place for people to work. And more places for talent to work is always a good thing. So, yeah, Eric Redbeard was here. You had everybody just putting everything out there. Buddy Matthews looked fantastic, like I said. He looks fucking amazing. He's in great shape, by the way. Brody, big as ever, but of course, Redbeard's bigger than him. House of Black wins. Redbeard gets hit with the mist, which missed in midair. Brody King hits the Rikishi's old finisher, the power driver that he used to do. Malachi, like, they all died pretty much on top. Like, Malachi dives on him, which I'm pretty sure Malachi wasn't the legal man unless I missed something. I thought it was Buddy Matthews still. And they pick up the win. So, they get the win, and House of Black gets the win they needed. And Redbeard was the guy. If you were going to look at all 6 guys, Matthews is making his in-ring debut. He signed to AEW. Redbeard is making his in-ring debut, but as far as I know, he's not signed to AEW for a long-term deal. You don't need Pac, Penta, Brody, or Malachi losing this match or being pinned in this match. Eric Redbeard can take a pinfall in this match and be fine, and everybody else is protected. Where do we go here with the House of Black? I do not know. And I don't know if they're still going to continue this thing on with Penta and Pac, or if they're going to move on to something else, because they really need to tie up that loose end of Julia Hart with her eye patch, because she's been sitting there with the Varsity Blondes, just changing her attitude and not really doing anything. Show started off with Chris Jericho versus Eddie Kingston. Now, this match could have went one or two ways. Jericho wins. We extend this on, and Jericho on Wednesday night taunts Eddie Kingston because he told him he couldn't win the big one. And then they have another match. Jericho could have won that match too, but had to cheat to win because they're slowly turning Jericho heel. They're separating the inner circle. Him and Jake Hager, because Jake Hager's going to be his personal bodyguard still. Or the guys who turn heel, Pride and Powerful go side with Eddie Kingston. Sammy Guevara does his own thing, which he's basically been doing for like the last 9 months. And then at Double or Nothing in the final match, Chris Kingston picks up the win, and that would have gave you a 3-month feud for these guys. They didn't do that. Eddie Kingston wins the match. It was a good match. Again, there was a very scary spot in the middle of this match where Jericho went to do, I believe it was a German suplex. I think it was, it was a German suplex. And the last German suplex, Eddie Kingston landed on his head. Jericho hits the lion salt and only gets a 2 count. So Jericho's getting frustrated towards the end of the match. He is just like, he feels like he should have this match won already, and Eddie Kingston's not in his league, so why is he still struggling with this guy? He actually gets in Aubrey Edwards' face and pushes her a little bit, but she shoves him back. Kingston then goes back and hits two suplexes, following it up with a spinning back fist, but Jericho just kicks out. One of the biggest problems I hate about professional wrestling in 2022 and the last 10 years or so, stop kicking out of finishers. Kenny Omega's one-winning angel has been kicked out of. Baron Corbin's End of Days hasn't been kicked out of. Why do we have to have people kicked out of finishers? It takes away the specialness. So when you do kick out of that finisher, that it just doesn't make it special. Eddie tries to keep fighting, but he runs into another code breaker. However, the former AEW champion does not get the cover this time. Misses the Judas effect. Eddie rocks him with not 1, but 2 spinning back fists. And doesn't go for the pin. Gets him into the stretch plume, which is a twisting. He has him set up and he's twisting on the neck. Does it once. Does it twice. Does it 3 times. And Jericho taps out. So Eddie Kingston picks up the win. Now Eddie Kingston got so beat up in this match that he literally had to ask Aubrey, what the hell just happened? What the hell happened? She told him, you won the match. So he was a little, taken back that he actually won. He celebrates a little bit. He strolls over to Jericho and tells him he respects him. He puts his hands out and says, shake my hand. You said you would shake my hand? Shake my hand. Jericho just goes to do it, but he can't bring himself to do it. Leaves the ring. And this just tells me that Jericho is definitely on the slow burn to a heel turn. Because, let's just face it, babyface Jericho has run its course. There is nothing left for him to do right now. And the Inner Circle does need to go away. They don't have anything left to do. I mean, fuck, Sammy Guevara's been doing his own shit by himself for, like I said, the last 9 months. After Stadium Stampede, Sammy Guevara has been pretty much on his own, barely doing anything with the Inner Circle. AEW Tag Team Championship match, Jurassic Express versus the Young Bucks versus Red Dragon. This was an interesting match. Now, for the majority of this match, the Young Bucks were working with Red Dragon. They were doing everything they could to get the titles off of Jurassic Express. They made some kind of handshake deal or some kind of deal that, I don't know, they would work together as often as possible. And, of course, that doesn't last very long. It lasts for probably half the match. But then Matt tries to go for pinfall. Kyle beats him, stops that. Kyle tries to go for a pinfall. Matt stops that. He's like, oh shit, I forgot about our deal. And once Luchasaurus gets in, he goes House of Fire, destroys everybody, and Jungle Boy destroys everybody as well. Now, referee, of course, another reason why I hate these type of matches is because the referee, it's only one referee and he can't keep a hold of everybody. We got a couple super kicks on Kyle, launched out of the ring and hits the Luchasaurus, following him with a BTE trigger for the legal Jungle Boy. O'Reilly breaks that pin up and Matt then dumps him on the outside. Jungle Boy fights back from the next plan, running on Matt and launches his brother across the ring and then suplexes Nick. Big Man flips up from the top rope and wipes out everyone on the outside. Luchasaurus kicks the spray can out of Matt Jackson and they hit the Jurassic, the whatever they call their finisher for the 1, 2, 3, and they win. They retain their championships. Now, obviously, this was probably one of the more predictable matches. Red Dragon and the Young Bucks are going to be having a feud coming very, very soon. Red Dragon and the Young Bucks. I did forget to mention on the pre-show, Tony Schiavone's in the ring is like, we have a very special guest, and let's bring him out. Kenny Omega's music plays. Crowd is getting hyped. Oh my god, Omega's coming back. He's gonna be here tonight. This is gonna be great. Out walked Don Callis. Of course, a booze, and Excalibur hoping that he would give Tony Schiavone $500 to just sock him in the face. Now, obviously, Kenny Omega probably won't be back till around maybe Double or Nothing. Can AEW pull this Red Dragon, Adam Cole, Young Bucks tension out until that happens? Now, a very interesting part of this promo was that he said that he's confident the Young Bucks will win the titles tonight, and that Adam Cole will become the new AEW champion, and it will be a perfect transitional champion. So Kenny Omega comes back and wins that title and takes his spot rightfully where he belongs, at the top of the AEW ladder. Very interesting that Don Callis is throwing that shade out there that, yeah, Adam Cole, he could win the title tonight, but it's only going to be transitional because as soon as Kenny Omega comes back, he's going to drop the title to Kenny Omega. Obviously, those tensions are going to be rising, and of course, Adam Cole and Red Dragon are going to turn on Young Bucks and Kenny Omega when Kenny Omega comes back, and that's going to be a feud as well, probably going into All Out. That'll be interesting. Face of the Revolution ladder match, we had ourselves, oh boy, 3 big dudes, 3 little dudes, and a whole lot of carnage. You had Keith Lee, who got to do a lot of big man shit. He recreated his meme of him rising up to choke out Finn Balor to Christian Cage. He rose up from behind Christian Cage and fucked him up. Wardlow, this match was obvious from last Wednesday, pretty much from the start, who was winning this match. As soon as Wardlow qualified, there was no doubt in anybody's mind who was winning this match. But Wardlow did what he needed to make sure that Keith Lee and Powerhouse Hobbs, middle of the match, was eliminated, towards the end of the match. As Wardlow, Hobbs, and Keith Lee all fought up towards the ramp, which the entranceway for this show tonight, they didn't have their tunnels pointed out. They had it sort of like where they were hidden, and it looked special for tonight, which was great. I like when they do that. But Hobbs and Keith Lee are fighting near the edge of the stage, and Wardlow just runs over and shoves them off, sending them crashing down, and that was just it for those two. He goes back to the ring, he fucks everybody else up, and Wardlow gets up. Oh wait, also then Ricky Starks comes close to winning the match. Danhausen shows up, curses this dude, and pulls Ricky Starks down. So Danhausen made his nice appearances at the AEW pay-per-view debut, cursing Ricky Starks and keeping him from winning the Face of the Revolution ladder match. So Wardlow fucked everyone up. Everyone was down. Wardlow won up, and he won the Face of the Revolution ladder match after Ricky Starks came close to grabbing the brass ring, and Wardlow said, "Fuck this shit." Picked him up. There was a ladder across, bridged between the ladder that they were climbing up and the ropes. So he grabbed him and powerbombed him onto the ladder, and he was Ricky Starks was pretty much dead. Really good match, car crash as it was, and yeah, that was that. Tony Schiavone shown in stage to host a contract signing. He showcased the name on the paper several times before announcing who it is. And it is somebody that he called many matches for in MLW Major League Wrestling. And he expects to be a very, he's a young guy, still, he's still able to hone his craft and, get better every single day. This man is the realist. Shane Strickland comes out, all cool, calm, and collected. Takes the contract, he signs it, and says he could talk all day about all the dream matches he's about to have, all the championships he's eventually going to win. Looked at Tony and said, "You're a witness to that." But he has one question. Walks a little bit forward and says, "Whose house?" Fans chant, "Swerve's house." "Whose house?" "Swerve's house." He says, "I love you too." And that is that. So Shane Strickland is all elite. I have not seen a match of Shane Strickland or Isaiah Swerve Scott when he was in AEW, in WWE. I know he's very good. I hear so much praise from him, from JD from New York, Solid Monster, and others who've seen him wrestle. What are they going to do with Shane Strickland? I do not know. The biggest problem with AEW is that they are signing too many people. Now, a big thing about this is that AEW, Tony Khan does own Ring of Honor now. And yeah, they have tonight mentioned Ring of Honor more times than I think I have ever heard a company not named Ring of Honor say Ring of Honor. We'll talk about the dog collar match here in a bit, but they would every time something was done that was Ring of Honor-esque, they would mention the name Ring of Honor. I know Tony owns it, but yeah. Shane Strickland, if they want to do this whole developmental thing or use it as a feeder system for Ring of Honor, I'm not saying Shane Strickland should be somebody who needs for development, but he would be a great person to say in AEW and in Ring of Honor to, maybe be the Ring of Honor Pure Champion, the Ring of Honor World Champion, the Ring of Honor Television Champion, something. He could be a guy who goes to Ring of Honor and helps sell those tickets because everybody knows who he is and he can help boost and be one of those guys who could work with a face for Ring of Honor if they want to do that. Especially when they have all these other guys that they have here. And honestly, in my opinion, I think they need to stop signing men. They need to start signing more women. Toni Storm, I know, is probably back in her home country. She needs to get a visa before she can come back to the States and work here. Athena is on Twitch all the time. Maybe they should get a hold of her and try and get her to come in. I think the men's division and the tag team division are strong. The women's division is a fucking dumpster fire because of who your champions are. Speaking of dumpster fire, TBS title match, Jade Cargill versus Tay Conti. How to make Tay Conti look stupid. how to make Anna Jay and Tay Conti look really dumb. Tay Conti was so confident on Wednesday, or was it? Yeah, on Friday, that she was going to be able to conquer the women's the champion. So why does she need Anna Jay to smack the champion in the head with a chair when the referee isn't looking? They are the baby faces in this contest. Why are you having the baby faces act like heels in this contest? It didn't make any sense. And then the finish. Oh my god, the stupid ass finish. Tay Conti looks like she's going up for some kind of moonsault. Jay gets up, smacks her in the back. Doesn't even shove her, but smacks her in the back with a forearm. Tay jumps forward, smacking her head off of the ring post and eats the jaded. How do you make this woman look so stupid every single time she goes out there for a big match like this? This was awful. The match was bad. Jade Cargill is 2-3 years before being a competent actual champion. There is no reason she should be holding this championship. If I was at the media scrums and I had a chance to ask Tony Khan, like, why do you hate women's wrestling? Why do you book your women's champions as some of the worst women's wrestlers out there? Why do you have your TBS champion on somebody who's so green and is not somebody who is even close to being ready to have that championship? Why are you booking? Like, I know you want to make her your Goldberg because you are so nostalgic with WCW and you love everything WCW that worked in WCW went well. You want to recreate that in Jade Cargill. That's fine. The difference is Jade Cargill is not over. Jade Cargill is not believable. Tay Conti made her, like, when Goldberg was in his prime, when Goldberg was out there kicking ass and taking names, he didn't look like Jade Cargill did tonight, where Tay Conti came so many different times close to beating her. Until, of course, he was, electrocuted with a cattle prod. But when he was on that hot streak, he would go out, smash, jackhammer, done. He was believable. Jade Cargill is not. It's just that simple. Jade Cargill does not come off as a believable person. Has she improved? Very, very little. She still should not be TBS champion. The fact that you're trying to recreate what was known as a lightning in a bottle gimmick with Goldberg with Jade Cargill is not doing her any favors. Get the title off of her ASAP. She should have never been in the tournament. She should have never won the championship. She should be nowhere where she is right now. But it is what it is. Tay Conti lost. What do you expect? Let's talk about something that actually people care about. MJF versus CM Punk dog collar match. CM Punk's music comes out, it hits first, so everyone's like, oh my god, CM Punk, yeah! MJF music hits. MJF walks out because he wanted to troll the fans. MJF's out there waiting for CM Punk. I'm waiting for Cult of Personality to kick back up, but that's not what we got. Some dark, brooding music starts playing. CM Punk walks out in his dressed like he was walking to the ring for a match in Ring of Honor to the theme he used in Ring of Honor. CM Punk brought back the Punk of Honor version of himself. Did everything, his mannerisms. The only thing CM Punk was missing from this getup was his long hair, because CM Punk used to have long hair until Big Show cut his hair. What was it, 10, 15 years ago? Something like that. So he comes out, does the whole thing, does everything. He's the Second City Saint tonight, not the best in the world, but the Second City Saint. The perks to Tony Khan owning Ring of Honor, that Tony Khan has access to their theme music, and CM Punk comes out to his old theme, which I did not see CM Punk in Ring of Honor. I only heard of CM Punk or knew of CM Punk in WWE and so on. So I'm not somebody who's like gonna pop completely. I actually had to look on social media to see what the fuck is going on. And yeah, CM Punk came out to his old theme. I got a lot of people, like the crowd went fucking ballistic. And I'm thinking, yeah, CM Punk's winning this match. Anybody who had a thought that, yeah, MJF was going to win, like the fact that CM Punk came out to his Ring of Honor gear theme and dressed like he would in Ring of Honor, just told you everything you know about who's going to win this match. This was bloody. This was brutal. CM Punk was busted open within like 20 seconds of the match. Of course, MJF, well, I'm going to say 20 seconds. because for the first 20 seconds, MJF is holding back, trying to keep CM Punk from pulling him forward with the dog collar. So, yeah. After that sequence, and MJF got the upper hand, he takes the chain, punches CM Punk right where that gash was on Wednesday, and he was gushing. CM Punk was gushing blood. He had a crimson mask, and my God, like, they were beating the shit out of each other. The chain got used. Like, CM Punk got hit in the back one time with that chain, and he was on his stomach, and you could just see the chain in his back. And that had to hurt. Can't really go over this match too much because it is just one hell of a fucking beatdown. MJF did bleed too a little bit, but it feels like his was more of a small blade job than when CM Punk got a flesh wound reopened. I've had that happen. Have you ever had a scab and you pick the scab and it starts bleeding again? Yeah, that's pretty much what happened here, only times 11, because CM Punk was gushing blood. He was just bleeding throughout hell. Now, early on in the match, after CM Punk is bleeding, MJF gets the mic, goes out of the ring. And he's like, "Give me the fucking mic!" Comes inside, gets down on CM Punk's chest, and he's like, "Tell these people you don't care about them. Tell these people you want to quit like you did on me all those years ago. Tell them." And he puts the mic in CM Punk's face, and CM Punk says, "Eat shit, Max." And then MJF makes the dumb mistake of getting on top rope and tries to talk shit to the fans. And what CM Punk just grabs the thing and yanks him forward, pulling him on down to the mat. Yeah, these guys beat the living shit out of each other. The chain was used all the time. CM Punk tried to wrap the chain around him and do a shining wizard of sorts, or running knee into MJF. On the outside, MJF moved and he hit his knee on the steel steps, so CM Punk's knee was compromised for the majority of the rest of the match. After that time, CM Punk did try many times to hit the GTS, and unfortunately could not get the job done for the majority of the match. So, yeah, CM Punk they beat the fuck out of each other, and, yeah, like I said, CM Punk was trying to use the GTS, couldn't get it done. Now, a little bit earlier in the match, too, MJF was down on the mat, and CM Punk took the chain, wrapped it on his hand, on his hand a little bit, and started stomping on it, because he wanted to try and prevent him to be able to do anything with his right hand. Of course, that's the one he puts his ring on and hits people with. It did compromise MJF later in the match, which, wrestlers out there, this is how you sell! Because both men were injured, and both men sold the entirety of the match after they were compromised. Unlike a lot of talent in professional wrestling nowadays, it seems. Everyone thinks they can't sell, and everyone's gonna fucking pop for it. You need to start learning how to sell again, motherfuckers. Anyway. So CM Punk's trying, and CM Punk's failing to get him put away. Somehow, the chain was detached from MJF's collar. MJF gets on the road, he's like, "Wardlow! Wardlow!" So Wardlow comes down, goes to get the ring, and he's like, okay, can't find the ring. All of a sudden, by the way, by this time, MJF put thumbtacks in the ring, and they did a little spot that didn't really do any effect. But, in a second, CM Punk pulls MJF into the GTS, hits it, MJF falls into the thumbtacks. CM Punk and Wardlow have a stare down, and Wardlow's like, "Oh, that's right." Pulls the ring out of his right pocket, puts it on the apron, turns around, and walks away. CM Punk goes over, grabs it, puts it on his hand, grabs MJF, says something to him, flips him off. MJF spits in his face. CM Punk with one good clean shot to the face. 1, 2, 3. MJF loses to CM Punk. Now, this is the only way this is acceptable to have CM Punk win this match. If the Wardlow turn does not happen during this match, then MJF needed to win. Plain and simple. There would have been no ifs, ands, or buts about it. CM Punk did not need to win this match. CM Punk should not have won this match if it wasn't for the way they did the turn for Wardlow. So, what's going to happen now? I don't expect to see CM Punk or I don't expect to see MJF on TV on Wednesday. I expect Sean Spears to come out and call Wardlow out to the ring or something like this and confront Wardlow, ask him what the hell, push Wardlow one too many times, and it's time for Wardlow to snap and beat this guy to within an inch of his life and leave him laying and saying, "You tell Max I'm coming for him next." And the babyface turn is complete. The fans popped for this. So CM Punk won. What does this mean for Double or Nothing and the winner and the AEW champion going into it? I do not know. We have all of the rest of March and all of April to get through. So I'm expecting a title match. Battle of the Belts is in the beginning of April, so I expect a title match with somebody else at that time. Will it be the other champ? Will it be Adam Cole or Adam Hangman Page again? Which we'll get to that in a bit. Or will it be somebody else? I do not know. Now, I felt bad for almost any match that would have followed this except for the women's title match because this match was a fucking abomination. Thunder Rosa carried this woman through in another match, and the story of this match was, hey, look, she has Reba. Hey, Rebel. Hey, look, she has Jamie Hayter. They're going to get up on the ring. They're going to interfere time and time again. And the referee, with the dumbest brain in the world, doesn't get the smart idea to go, hey, you and you, get out of here. No, he lets them stay in the ring. So, at the end of the match, Thunder Rosa destroys both of them, comes in, eats one stomp, and gets pinned. In the most lackluster match that they could ever have. The championship. Okay, so basically, Tony Schiavone, I think it was after this match, or was it after the next match? Okay, after the Bryan Danielson-Jon Moxley match, Tony Schiavone comes out and comes to the stage and announces matches for Wednesday night. We know of Scorpio Sky versus Sammy Guevara, which I think Sammy's going to win because I don't want to see. The reason I say Sammy wins is because you're going to have Sammy versus Wardlow, but the problem is you just turned Wardlow completely babyface or had him turn on MJF, and Wardlow should probably be your next TNT champion. I don't want to see Scorpio Sky win it for the simple fact is if they do that in Wardlow, then that means you're going to beat Wardlow, or Scorpio Sky is going to be a transitional champion and lose and have the title for 1 week. Also, they decided that they're going to have a number one contenders match for the women's championship. Layla Hirsch versus Thunder Rosa. For the winner to get a championship match against the champion on the 16th. In Thunder Rosa's hometown. Let me get this straight. You just had a bullshit finish with a bullshit match and had Thunder Rosa lose, all so you can go and do a cage match because you're doing the same thing that you did with the Young Bucks and the Lucha Bros. They're going to have Thunder Rosa win on Wednesday. Thunder Rosa's going to demand a cage match because she's tired of the interference. And we're going to have a cage match because Tony Khan can't think of anything else for these two women. Hell, book a Hell in a Cell. Why not? Why the fuck not? They can't call it a Hell in a Cell, but call it the Rage in the Cage or something. Make it a Hell in a Cell type structure and have those two go at it. But here's the problem with this. I don't give a shit if the match is in her hometown. It's an episode. First off, the fact that you're going to have a special episode of AEW on TBS 2 weeks, 10 days after your pay-per-view is ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. Obviously, yeah, they're going to have the Women's Championship match. That's probably going to main event the show because that's what Tony Khan wants to do. Cage match with those two. Thunder Rosa wins the championship. Which, by the way, the championship does not look like it did. It looks like they took inspiration from one of Impact Wrestling's titles and made that into the Women's Championship. It is what it is, but the fact that you had Thunder Rosa lose tonight in one of the most piss-poor booked matches you did for the women's division, both women's division matches on the main card, sucked. The match on the pre-show for the women was the best match of the night for the women. That's sad. And it had a dirty finish. However, Two women went out there and kicked ass and beat the hell out of each other and still went out there and had a great fucking match. This was an absolute abomination, but it's clear Thunder Rosa's going to win on Wednesday. She's going to go to her hometown. It's going to be in a cage match. She's going to be the new champion. And it's going to be too little too late for most people to care. I just saw all over social media people are tired of this championship title reign. Why? And someone else put this out there too. Why does both WWE and AEW refuse to take their titles off of women whose title reigns have fallen flat months ago? You want to know when the Faker's title reign fell flat? The night after she won the championship. She peaked at Double or Nothing last year. Her entire title reign, look at her first championship defense. It was against Nyla Rose. That match was an absolute train wreck, which everybody knew it was going to. And every single match after that she defended that title, she has looked like shit. The person that she goes up against in the ring has to carry her ass. And not everyone can do that. Thunder Rosa can. Ruby Soho can. Tay Conti really can't. Chris Statlander really is not there yet either. She hasn't had a good match. Her title has been in the mud for almost a damn year. That title should have ended tonight. I don't care if it's in her hometown and it's going to be a great moment in front of her hometown. This was a bigger night. The fact that you are going to hold off a title change so you can get a blow-off match inside a cage match at a run-of-the-mill special events episode 10 days later is absolutely fucking asinine. It's asinine. Give me a fucking break. Tony Khan, why do you not care about women's professional wrestling? Because you're treating your women's division as an absolute clown show. The titles are absolutely fucking worthless. You had a chance to rescue your division tonight, and you failed. Just like you failed when you put the title on one of the worst women wrestling in your company since day one. She has not improved, and if she did improve, she kind of, regressed every single week. I'm going to be honest, though. The women's championship, the main women's title, hasn't looked good on anybody. Rhea held the championship. Nobody believed her as champion. She wasn't even around because she was stationed in Japan and only was able to travel back and forth. Luckily, they got that title off of her before COVID completely hit. Nyla Rose won the championship, hardly held the title before she lost it to Shida. Shida held it for about a year plus, and they hardly had her on TV, even though she lives in fucking Jacksonville right now. And now you have it on a champion who has been the absolute worst and has not won all but one match by herself. She's had Rebel for most of it. She got Jamie Hayter after that. And she's been winning all of her matches with help of everybody else. It's been an absolute fucking bore for this women's division. The women's division has Serena Deeb, Thunder Rosa, Hikaru Shida, to name three right there. If you get Toni Storm and Athena to come in, and maybe others as well, the Faker is going to be so far behind everybody else when it comes to talent, and you still continue to drag that title through the mud with her as champion. It's an absolute joke. It's an absolute fucking joke that she still holds the championship. Everybody is fucking tired of her as champion, and it's 10 days from now. It's 10 days too fucking late. So again, Tony, why do you hate women's professional wrestling? Because the way you treat your women's professional wrestling, your women's division, it's an absolute joke. One match on the show every single Wednesday. Most of the matches on Dark and Dark Elevation are either 6 women tag team matches, 8 women tag team matches, or squash matches. The women have next to nothing. The only one who's really doing anything and seems to have any matter to it was Serena Deeb, who got her ass kicked by fucking Shida on Friday. The women's division is in the mud. The women's division is dead, and you keep kicking a dead horse every single time. That title has got to come off of Britt Baker in 10 days, or it's not even worth it. You might as well just, burn that championship and just abolish the women's division. Plain and simple. Jon Moxley versus Bryan Danielson. This was damn good. I love the crowd because as soon as the bell rang, we get a "We Want Violence" chant from start for about the first 5-10 minutes. Moxley's bleeding towards the end. Danielson's bleeding. We got a lot of blood in this match, this show, but you knew because of the dog collar match in this match we were going to get blood. These two beat the shit out of each other. Danielson hits a kick to the stomach and running double knees, but Moxley kicks out. Now it's time for Bryan to stomp away on it, but he locks in the triangle sleeper. Bryan is hitting John with his elbow strikes at the same time. However, Moxley is able to keep the submission in. Moxley somehow reverses this into a pinfall victory, 1, 2, 3. And I'm sitting here like, what? That's the finish to the match? I mean, the match was good. It's just that it felt kind of it felt kind of flat. The finish did. It came out of nowhere, and it just, I don't know. It made Bryan Danielson look stupid because he had a triangle sleeper on and didn't want to let go, and he ended up costing him the match. After the match, they still start beating the fuck out of each other. They're still brawling. When out of nowhere, in comes Sir William Regal. Crowd pops huge. He gets in the ring. He separates the two. He goes to Jon Moxley. He punches him in the head. Does a little bit of a headbutt. Goes over to Bryan Danielson. Just smacks the taste out of his mouth. Tells him, I taught you better than this. Now you guys got the fight done. Shake hands. And let's get this over with. So, eventually, they do shake hands. And the biggest question is, what the fuck is William Regal doing in AEW? And what does this mean for Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson? Are we about to see a murder gang like we've never seen before, of violence, blood, sweat, and tears? Are these two going to run roughshod over AEW? Maybe they're the ones to beat Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus for the tag team titles. Maybe they pluck Daniel Garcia from 2.0, beat the shit out of them, and just take him and get him to see the light. What is this going to do? Now, Regal. A lot of people talking about, I listened to Solomon Monster, I think it was yesterday or today, talking about what he would predict for Ring of Honor if they were to be started back up. Regal would be a great guy as a general manager for that company, for that that brand. I agree. Regal could do that. I feel like if Ring of Honor does start back up and they have their tapings, they're going to spend a 2-night or so, tape a month or two of matches, and then put them all together on wherever they're going to put it. William Regal could be there and run Ring of Honor while also doing whatever he's going to do in AEW. What is he going to be doing? I have no idea, but I'm really intrigued to see what William Regal has got in store and what happens with these guys going into the rest of 2022. Now, Scorpio Sky takes on Sammy Guevara on Wednesday, and next week, 10 days from now, Wardlow should be winning the TNT Championship or getting screwed over by MJF. That's the only thing I can think they're going to be doing there. Matt Hardy, Andrade El and Isaiah Cassidy versus Sting, Darby Allin, and Sammy Guevara. This match was an absolute mess. In a good way. 6 guys, plus the rest of the AHFO, going completely ballistic, beating the fuck out of each other, and Sting doing a dive from the highs of highs onto Andrade, who for whatever reason decided he's sitting on the table. Let me lay back and try and catch a breather. Sting dove on him through 3 tables. I'm not impressed. We've seen Sting do nothing but a bunch of stage dives and other dives. How many more times does Sting have to do a dive of some sort before we go, we've seen it. We've seen it. I don't, people, if anybody is still doubting Sting, I don't know what to tell you, but the fact that Sting went out there and did that dive did not impress me at all. Now, I was expecting, because it felt really weird that Andrade, this match just felt like it was thrown together for the hell of it, instead of having that triple threat match we had on Friday night should have been in this spot. Plain and simple. Should have been in this spot. This was a come down match, that's why they made this, and so all the craziness that was going on the previous match, people could be, rest up for a bit and get ready for the main event. Still, I would rather have seen that triple threat match here instead. So, Sammy Guevara hit, I'm pretty sure it was Mark Quinn with a Spanish fly off of the top of one of the entrance tunnels through a table. Holy shit. Wow. Oh, it was Cassidy, not Quinn, my bad. But, like, dude was probably dead. Now, this match had a botch, unfortunately. So, Matt goes for the Scorpion, goes for the Twist of Fate. Then he gets dropped through a chair with a Scorpion Death Drop by Darby Allin, who goes up for the Coffin Drop. Unfortunately, Matt Hardy is 3/4 away. Darby goes for the Coffin Drop, but as he's doing that, Matt is not positioned to take the Coffin Drop. So when Darby does the Coffin Drop, Matt's shoulder is up on the mat. Darby misses the Coffin Drop 100% completely and gets the pin anyway and wins. Match was crazy. They were all over the place. Weapons, tables, ladders, chairs, dives by Sting, and all this other stuff. If you want to see a car crash of epic proportions, there you go. Winner Sting, Darby, Sammy Guevara. And then we go to the main event. Adam Cole dressed like a sort of like Master Chief with the 117 armor plate, Halo inspired tights. No Master Chief helmet, which I was kind of disappointed in. And this was a good match as well. Like from start to finish. I know everyone loves the time limit draw between Hangman and Danielson, the Texas Death Match, and of course the championship match on night one. This was Hangman Adam Page's best title defense start to finish. From start to finish, there was no lull. This was just two guys going out there and beating the shit out of each other, throwing caution to the wind, throwing everything but the kitchen sink at each other, even the kitchen sink if they could, to try and be the AEW World Champion. Start to finish, it's not even close. This was the best match. Everyone wants to love that draw, that 60-minute draw, but there was so much stalling in that match that it just comes down. It's not a 5-star, it's not a 4-star, it's a 3.5. This, to me, was a 5-star match. These guys beat the shit out of each other. Red Dragon does appear towards the end of the match, which provides a distraction. Cole hits a super kick to the back of the head. He follows up with a Panama Sunrise on the floor. However, they get back in the ring. Hangman kicks out the distracted officials again, which leads to a low blow. Panama Sunrise. Cole hits the boom, but does not lower the knee pad. They do mention this on commentary. He lowers the boom, hits the Shining Wizard to the back of the head, and Hangman kicks out. Now, normally I would bitch and moan about this. Oh, you're kicking out of the finishers, but he did not. He wanted to keep the momentum going, and he does not lower the knee pad. So instead of hitting straight on knee on back of the head, he's hitting with the knee pad, so that was giving Hangman enough strength to get back up. Hangman fires that back with a clothesline, but goes for a buckshot. He's a super kick, then Cole follows up with a flurry. Red Dragon then sets up a table on the outside. But Hangman quickly reverses whatever Cole was doing into a Deadeye. Dark Order make their way down to check on the champion. They brawl to the back with Red Dragon and allows Page to hit the buckshot lariat. However, they're right next to the ropes. 1, 2, Adam Cole gets his fingers on the rope. Barely. That's how you protect the finish. That's how you kick out of a finisher. You find a way to protect it, and that's how you protect the finish. Cole ends up tied up on the top row on the rope as Adam Page. Which this match, oh my god, I love this crowd with this. The match starts, and we hear, "Let's go, Adam. Let's go, Adam." And Adam Cole and Hangman Page are like, "That's cute." They just had this look of, "Come on, guys." Then there was Adam, "Let's go, Adam. Adam sucks. We want Adam." There were just so many Adam chants in this match. We didn't get a Hangman Page Adam Cole chant until the very near end of this match. It was absolutely some of the funniest shit I've ever seen. I ever heard, I should say. They were next to the ropes. Cole's fingers on them. He tied up to the ropes, and Page with the belt buckle, but he fights back and gets free, only to walk into a super kick. Page then lowers the knee pad, hits his own version of the boom, follows it up with a buckshot lariat, and he retains the championship. He is still your AEW champion in a very, very good match to finish the show. Was this a perfect show? Absolutely not. Now, before we finish this up, of course, Hangman goes over, he looks at Adam Cole, he grabs his hand, puts it in a shaking motion, and shakes his hand to have his own code of honor, as they, for the about 777th time tonight, mentioned Ring of Honor. I know, Tony owns it, but you don't have to just roll it out there every other sentence, guys. So, again, was this a great show? Yes. Was it a perfect show? Absolutely not. The Women's Championship, both women's matches on the main card just brought the show down. Everything else was great. Everything else was great. None of the men's matches were bad. The women's matches were absolutely terrible and atrocious and made the challengers look very, very bad. And again, the Thunder Rosa versus Faker at after Thunder Rosa beats Layla Hirsch, because of course she's going to, unless they do some stupid shit, because it is in Thunder Rosa's hometown. I could not imagine seeing Thunder Rosa not winning the championship in her hometown now, because they decided to go that was a more important night than the fucking pay-per-view that you were on tonight. This was a bigger night than March 16th. Whether you want to slice, whatever way you want to slice it, Tony, this was a bigger night. This was the time. Actually, the time to take the title off of her was, I don't know, All Out last year. So, yeah. It just doesn't make any sense that, you're going to have this match end like it did and have the Faker hold the championship for another 10 days. It just, especially if you want to make it so fucking obvious that they're going to be in a cage match, and so fucking obvious that she's going to win the championship in her hometown, it takes away from the specialness of her winning the championship. Tonight would have been more special than her winning in her hometown, and I don't want to hear anyone say otherwise. What will we see go on from here? What happens with Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson? Why is William Regal here? What does Shane Strickland do? What's next for Adam Cole and Adam Hangman Page, Red Dragon, and the Young Bucks? What is going to happen with Eddie Kingston and Chris Jericho? It looks like Chris Jericho is going towards more heel tendencies after promising to shake his hand not once but twice and not doing it. We'll have to find out in the weeks to come. I cannot wait to see what happens on Wednesday night. Should be a good one. But I'm getting out of here. You guys have a good one. Hit that subscribe button. Comment down below. Like or dislike this video. Find me on Minds at the France Club. Find me on twitch.tv/the France Club. And find me on Instagram at the France Club. And I will see you guys tomorrow for Raw. Until then, my name is the France, and I'll see you guys later.